Thank you for attending in person. Our first AGM in person. It's been very different, not being on a screen. I know we've got some people at home. Hopefully, Reese, they're giving thumbs up that they can hear us okay, they can see the screen. Give Reese a thumbs up. Put your name in the chat, just to make sure we know you're here and we can record you for the official minutes. I hope that you will give in your name to Wendy. If you haven't, please do. This is going to be slightly tricky for me because I've got to do official business and the setup is not quite worked how I wanted. So I might have to go over here and read a few things so I don't forget anything. But we're going to go through as quickly as we can. Please mute at home. Reese will mute you if not. And we have quorum. We've got people online, we've got people here, so 30 is our quorum. So this meeting is quorum. We're good to go. All right. So we're going to fly through today. There are going to be maybe a few typos you spotted. I've already spotted one. So you can count how many you get. All right, we had a British OCR Championship today. I was also race director, so you can give me that one. And I finished the presentation. So we may have missed things up. No, but you can make but don't call them out. All right, but we are going to run through our strategic plan. We're going to talk about membership quickly. The ultimate season pass. This is getting recorded online, so it'd be good to know. And if there's any major ones, I can edit it for the YouTube edit. We talk about national team update with Beth, head of OCR, vice chair of Ninja, representing the Ninja Technical Committee. We've got Ali online, and we've got Becky Neal, head of OCR, who is going to represent OCR. We also have Honor Avara, elected director here in person, and we've got Mike Loosemore, independent non-executive as well. Myself, as most of you know, James Burton, chair and president of the British Obstacles Board. We'll talk about recognition, some progress updates. I'm not going to go through every committee in detail, just got a few updates, partner updates, quick look at the AGM resolutions, and we've got a quick Q&A by Paul Brenton. Let's play. Some of you might not have seen this, but we've got a strategic plan out now. It's a 5-point plan, and the key message is to go out and have fun. It's such an amazing sport that we have, and we want the world to know about it, especially everyone in the UK. So you're going to be hearing more about this, and we want to get everyone out playing our sport and enjoying it. Our mission, as it has been since 2021, is to ensure everyone in the UK can enjoy the endless possibilities of obstacle sport. So we've got many committee members here, always ensuring we think about this in everything we do. How do we ensure that everyone in the UK can enjoy it? And how do we ensure that it is innovative and it can be enjoyed by as many people as possible in so many different ways? That's why our sport is so amazing, because it can be a 100-meter fixed OCR course, it can be a super technical ninja course, it can be a 24-hour world's toughest mudder, and everything in between. And that's why I love it, and I know that many of you do as well. We also have a vision now to empower the nation to overcome all obstacles. I don't know about you, but this sport for me is not just about the physical, it's about the mental as well. I think it's a very powerful sport that can do wonders for us as athletes, participants, and society in general. Huge team of people helping out. It's just a few faces. Sorry if I've missed you off. I just want to say, personally, thank you on behalf of the board, whether you're at home or here in the room, for all your support in making British obstacle sports happen. It's a huge team effort to make this happen and to deliver what we're doing. And it wouldn't happen without all of us coming together and doing the sport we love. Organisational structure. I always want to show this slide just to refresh everyone's memory. We're set up with 2 technical committees, Ninja Sport and OCR, who represent the sports. They're responsible for setting the rules for the sport, organising events, got the community committee within OCR, we've got an athlete committee within OCR. This year, we've also set up the 100-meter subcommittee that actually has representatives from OCR, from Ninja, actually has the head of pathways at Pentathlon GB on the committee. Because it's such a hybrid sport, we want to bring all the experts into that committee to ensure we're developing that 100-meter activity in the UK. I think it's got a lot of growth opportunities. We see actually out in the 100-meter Spartan Championship, we've got TV out there, which is going to be really exciting. As many of you would have seen at European World Championships, the 100 meters from a fan appeal from a TV board is super exciting. So the 100 meters is really there to excite and move the sport forward as well. We are a company like any other company in the UK. We've got multiple business functions, membership, marketing, web, data protection, finance. All of these things are happening through volunteers. So amazing effort, team effort, and thank you again on behalf of the board for what you are doing. How you can continue to help. Keep renewing your membership. We'll touch on membership later, but it's a simple thing. I know it's a bit of admin, but keep renewing, keep getting your friends to renew, your friends and family as supporters. It really does help. And just spread the word like you're all doing, telling people at events about British obstacle sports, about OCR, about Ninja, and getting more people involved. As many of you in this room are already doing volunteer as well and supporting British obstacle sports and the work we're doing. And it can be big and it can be small. We've got people as chairs, as technical, as committees. It tends to be a bigger role with more responsibilities. Some people are doing really ad hoc things, but it makes a massive, massive difference at keeping the federation running. Here's an example, kind of small ad hoc tasks. We've got Sean Brooks-Gallup, just handling prize allocation. So we want to try and reward all our members. So we're trying to give as many members prizes out as possible. Sean handles all that, talks to events, make sure the members get their prizes. Shelley Tompkins sends out membership numbers. We've got Incarni that handles the European World qualification lists. And Julie Botwood often send a, not this document, unfortunately, I probably should have done, a bit of proofreading as well. So it doesn't always have to be a big task you get involved, it can be small tasks as well. AGM resolutions. Okay, I will read a couple of things here. Reviewing AGM resolutions is a formal process that we need to follow procedure. Make sure that here. Thank you for your patience while we complete proceedings here. Also want to thank you for taking the time to review the distributed information. I understand that some of the terminology may be confusing. Please do ask. But please feel free to ask any questions on any of this in the room and also online. They're really important. So, all eligible members have been sent ballot details to your registered email address and want to vote. Please, if you haven't voted yet and you want to vote, you've got till 7:30 today to vote. Please speak to Reese over there. We'll make sure you've got your details and can vote. If you're online, please message in the chat. Are you under British Obstacle Sports in the chat, Reese? Yeah, so British Obstacle Sports in the chat if you're at home, and Reese will help trying to get you voted. This is the only way to vote. So it's been your email, and the member voting details have been sent to your registered email address. Okay, so if you want to vote, you need to check that email address, and it's the only way to vote. And once it's coded, passed, it cannot be changed. And you've got until 7:30 p.m. Like I said, to vote. Resolution 1. Approve the minutes of the British Obstacle Sports AGM held on November 27th, 2023, made available to all members. So, yeah, this was sent out to all members in advance via Election Runner voting service, also on the governance AGM page. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections? Anyone in the room or online? It's interesting that some people do vote no for this, but don't give any information. So if you do vote no, that's fine, but just that's normally when there's a correction to be made to the minutes. If you maybe weren't at the minutes previously, feel free to abstain as well. Okay, thank you very much. Move on to the next one. The next one is Resolution 2. Approve the British Obstacle Sports financial accounts for the financial year 2023-24. made available to all members. So just to give you a bit of background, we made £38,998 this year. So not a lot in terms of a lot of money, but not in terms of from a governing body perspective in terms of finances. We're starting small, but for a voluntary organisation, it's good to build up this financial awareness and knowledge small as we grow, putting in the protocols and things like that. So I say small, 40 grand is still a lot of money, but as I say, we're learning financial processes, developing our financial processes at this stage. The cost of sales were 32,118, and additional expenditure was £6,880. So we aimed this year as a board, we made a decision that we wanted to come in and not make a profit this year. So we actually made a £32 profit. We kept our company reserve now at 3,246. So we've got that a bit of backup for the future. That's one of the reasons we made a decision to purchase the Toros equipment we saw today. So the Toros equipment out of the course was purchased with some additional money we had before the end of the tax year. We got it at an excellent price, and that was part of the national team sponsorship as well. So Toros comes on in terms. So those obstacles are now owned by British Obstacle Sports. We'll be seeing races around the country. And Brood Rampage, I think, is the next one on July 14th. But we'll definitely have the firefighters at minimum, potentially some attachments as well. Are there any questions? Yeah, this has all been shared in advance in terms of financial accounts and summary. And I think the key goal is for us to be transparent. So if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to ask away, and we'll try and answer. All right. Thank you very much. Resolution 2. Resolution 3. Adopt and approve the updated Articles of Association of UK Obstacle Sports Federation Limited, made available to all members. So the things we've done here, the objects have been updated. So that's just the object is like what we as a federation do, what we're responsible for. That's just been updated to ensure it covers everything from our strategic plan that we're looking for the next few years. And we've also added anti-doping regulations, and that's kind of we're responsible for controlling that. Annual subscriptions, we updated with 30 days notice. Previously it was yearly, and that didn't really give us the flexibility if we did need to raise membership prices. We've just made some tweaks to the life member section update section. Requirement for member resolutions has been clarified. So any member can raise a member resolution. If you're not happy with something at the federation, it's member-led. You can raise a member resolution. If it gets 30 signed members, it becomes a resolution, and it goes to an AGM or an EGM. Previously, it said 75% of votes. We just clarify it means 75% of votes cast to pass. And then we clarify voting requirements just to make sure it's clear that you need to be a member on the day of the AGM itself to cast your vote. So if your membership expired just before an AGM, you wouldn't be able to vote. And the conflict of interest section has been updated with our conflict of interest policy that's been updated. So this has been made available to all members. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay. The BOS representatives, got some amazing representatives that have come forward to represent the regions around the country. And we've got B here in the room, Reese, we've got a few others, and just Tim, sorry, and some online as well. Sorry if I've missed anyone in the room. The key kind of purpose is for the representatives just to allow us to localise some of the things we're doing nationally in terms of speaking to events, speaking to coaches, training centres, supporting the national programmes we're trying to roll out. So we've got, I believe, 11 regions and combined 4 as well, combined services as well. We had a number of people that stepped forward unopposed. We still included them in the vote, but by being unopposed, they have all come forward through, and they are representatives of different regions. So Paul Brenton, Ninja Sport Combined Services, so the Army and Armed Forces, Emergency Services, B Wood, OCR North England, Kimberly Harvey, Ninja Sport South East England, Ben Allen, OCR South West England, OCR Northern Ireland, which is a key region for us to develop, and events and training centres, Keith Clark, Tim in Ninja Sport Scotland, and OCR Scotland, and Ninja Sport Wales, Alex Arm. So all part of British Obstacle Sport, just representatives for these regions helping to support what we're trying to do. We also have for OCR combined services a vote, and that's kind of all part of the voting process, as well as Paul Brenton and Reece Sanders. I'll pause if anyone wants to ask any questions. And for OCR Midlands, we have Anthony Spalding and Thomas Musket. Okay. OCR South East representative, we have Erica Paul and Gennaro Mariano. And OCR Wales, we've got Alex Arndt and Reece Jeremiah. All right. Any questions? Nothing coming in on the chat? Yeah. Cool. Regards to the OCR. Yeah. With the other military person who's the head of sort of physical training services and the location of the service elements, providing sort of voice in sport development the podium today. I think that if there is an opportunity to remove myself, I can assist him, but for him to be the lead, because he is a serving member in the sport, he's leading by action, he's also in the development of sport within the tri service, so yeah, absolutely perfect to run that role and like assistant side. Okay. So for anyone who couldn't hear at home, I don't know if you were listening, Paul was just saying that Reece is an amazing candidate. He's got a great role within the army. In the army, we're at tri-service level. At tri-service level, he may be a fantastic candidate, and Paul's backing him essentially. So what we'll do, we'll just see how the vote comes in. Yeah. We can follow due process if you wanted to withdraw your vote. Yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, we'll note that in the minutes. Thank you. Honorary life members. So we introduced this last year, and Sean Wild was introduced as an honorary life member, our first one. Persons who, in the opinion of the board, warrant recognition for their services to the sport and recreation of obstacle sports. So we have two life members. Two. One bit I forgot to do. It's not as it playing as it. Starting point, humble beginnings. As I was saying, there's not a lot of profit here. So, okay. So, really hard to make a decision on this, and we can vote 4 people each year. We made a decision as a board to put 2 people in this year. Purely because it's such an important thing, we want to make sure we work out as a board the right people we're putting forward. We have probably about 10, 15 names, I would say, that we went through, and we decided to go with 2 people. The first person, someone who from my stalking, have been in obstacle racing since 2016. Has been a massive part of the OCR community. And I may give this away as I move into the next thing. I think been involved with British Obstacle Sport since 2021, and I think 2022 got heavily involved with our technical officials program. I don't know about you, but I think technical officials in the UK has gone strength to strength. And Joe Dalton Cox is the lead of the technical officials program, and there are many amazing people within that program as well. And not only is chair, not only as chair of our technical officials committee and running the committee, running the courses. Also helped lead the British OCR Championship, British OCR Junior Championships class. Last year, Joe was also Chief Technical Official for the 3K Championship course, and also been involved with Youth Engagement Committee, Ninja Sport Technical Committees. So fabulous part of British obstacle sport, fabulous part of the OCR community, now getting involved with ninja sport, and yeah, incredibly grateful for all her work, and would love Joe to come forward to accept honorary life.
Sorry, I'm looking. Thank you. Don't make me cry, I'm exhausted. Thank you. Thank you. That's safe with it.
Amazing. Yeah, no, thank you for everything Joe is doing. As I say, it's super hard to give these awards out. We've got such an amazing community. The next person is from the ninja sport side. Someone who I think has been about since 2018, who's first on Ninja Warrior season 4. And I might get Beth to say a few words, to put her on the spot in a second once I've announced it. He was also on season 5 and season 6. Just a fabulous ambassador for Ninja in terms of what he puts out, both online, in person, is always at events up and down the country. Amazing character. And Dean Cheetham also was he's been a podium winner at many elite competitions. Recently started to beat an OCR 100 as well. Won a bronze masters medal at the OCR World Championship 2023 in Belgium. He also beat his own masters national record in Italy at the European Championships this year. Known as Retro Dino, can always be seen promoting Ninja either online in person, and it's qualified Ninja Sport Coach, British Ninja Sport Coach. Dean works at Total Ninja in Manchester, where he inspires local ninjas. So, Beth, is there anything else you wanted to say? But hopefully Dean is online. And
yeah, I think you've covered a lot of the main points. Like Dean is always there.
Okay, just so you can hear.
Yeah, Dean is always there. He's always got a smile on. He's always willing to help. You know, he just really sort of like embodies the spirit of Ninja and OCR. And yeah, we want to extend our thanks to him.
Amazing. So, round of applause for Dean.
Cheers, guys. I didn't actually know that I was going to be on today. Just finished work, sat down here, Laura's throwing a camera in my face, and went, "Oh, you've got to watch this." And just had a look, and that was a complete surprise for me. Cheers, guys. We really appreciate that. So Ninja's always been a huge part of my life. I want to help as many people as I can to progress through the sport, through British obstacle as well. You know, I'm always on hand, whether it's the kids doing the competitions. I want to run by the side and cheer people on, and you know, make the sport as best as it can be. So really appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dean.
Cheers, Ali. I know it's you, mate. Nice one.
We wasn't sure when Dean was going to get home from work, so you will see 2 slides again with them, because I had it in a couple of places. Don't think I removed this. All right, that is the official business. If anyone does need a break or anything, feel free to jump out. We're going to fly through some slides. Our strategic and priorities is 5 points that we want to live by the next in our 2-year strategic plan. Hopefully you'll get excited by some of these points. There's a slightly more detailed version available online now, but it's very much a working document that we're all going to develop together to build our sport. Strategic priority number 1, lay strong foundations for our sport. We can't have a successful sport if we're not strong as British obstacle sports, and we're not sustainable from a commercial perspective. As you can see here, our 2030 vision is a well-managed, well-funded MGB with 5 to 10 full-time staff deliver on our mission. We always will be volunteer-driven, but we can't do this as volunteers forever. I certainly might get divorced if I keep doing it for too much longer. So we're going to need to bring more paid staff, but we can't have paid staff unless we're commercially viable. So that's going to be a really key part of what we're doing over the next couple of years, and that key thing, development of our commercial strategy. How can we get partners, sponsors, funding, and that funding is that key thing as well. It shouldn't be our only way through to becoming to getting that commercial viability. If we just rely on funding, that's very dangerous. But funding is a key part of any NGB. Get funding, especially as what we're considered as an extreme sport by the UK Sports Council, we need to complete our full application, which is the key. We're going to try and get it in by August to the UK Sports Council to get recognised. We'll talk about that later. And there's a few extra things in the Sports Governance Code. So to get funding, you need to comply with the Sports Governance Code. Most of that is covered in our full application, but there's a few additional things we need to make sure we do. So this is essentially strategic priority number one for us. Lay strong foundations. We need that full application. We need to be compliant with Sports Governance Code, and we need to develop that commercial strategy and develop the sport. Strategic priority number two, help events and facilities to thrive. We know it was a difficult time with COVID. We know it was a difficult time with the cost of living crisis. So two key challenges that have affected obstacle sports. We need to help support events ultimately. There's no point in having a strong foundation and a strong governing body if there's no events, there's no training centres, etc. So this is strategic priority number two. We'd love to see, from a vision perspective, over 500 licensed obstacle sports events annually, over 200 affiliated facilities in the UK. So things we're going to be doing to support this, we've already held one forum with a number of events. We want to do that again on a quarterly basis. Get events talking to each other as well, sharing best practice. I know we've got Nick Sullivan representing Towergate here in the audience, working to ensure from an insurance perspective that perceived risk of our sport is minimised. So one, insurance gets provided to events, and then two, it's not expensive as well. Insurance is very expensive for obstacle related activities. And that's kind of that second point. And then just helping events, smaller events, to like the big events, the Spartans, the Nuclears, the Total Warriors, they've got this dialed, they've got this covered. They know how to put on great events, as we've all seen. Smaller events, there's some fantastic events out there, but it's hard, isn't it? Because if you're a small event, you need to make money. How can we help them to be successful? How can we help with them templated guidance? And that last point, how do we support new events and facilities as well to get up and running? How do we welcome more events into our sport? Strategic priority number three, increase access to obstacle sports. I'd love to get, this is probably one of the most ambitious ones, given the size of the country. 75% of the population are within 20 miles of a licensed, affiliated, free obstacle sports event or facility. Love to have that spread around the country. Love to not just be in South East or certain pockets of the country, really spread around the whole of the UK. We know we need to develop our youth participation, talent development. We've had Dawn doing some great work with the Youth Engagement Committee. How do we get that guidance in for schools? So we've got school programmes. We want to develop our diversity and inclusion strategy to bring more people into the sport, and just simple things like online maps. So people know our sport's very hidden often. I hear that, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this place. It's 20 miles down the road. Next, raise awareness of obstacle sport. We're very lucky as a sport to have a sport which, from a brand perspective, is in popular culture. You've got Tough Mudder, you've got Spartan, you've got Ninja Warrior. It's known throughout the UK, it's known throughout the world. How do we get that for OCR? So you don't have to explain, it's a bit like Tough Mudder or that Ninja Warrior, like that TV show. Oh, Ninja, oh wow, oh that's in the Olympics, or is it in this World Championship, etc. So we need to get the PR out there, engagement with journalists and media outlets. Anyone knows anyone in PR? Maybe they want to do some pro bono work from an agency perspective. We'd love to have that connection. Really to get that content strategy with industry and the community. So bringing that content onto our social channels, helping people new to the sport so they understand it's a thing. People do one event. Oh, there's one event here. How do we then go, well, what about all these other events? What about this thing you could do over here, etc., etc. There's European Championships, there's World Championships. And how do we get into schools, colleges and universities? I should say, for all of these points, we've got a way to measure success that's in our more detailed strategic plan as well. So we will be measuring this over time. And then finally, use our sport as a platform for tackling inactivity. Love to be at a point where we're getting funding for a national programme to tackle intricacies, and not just getting people that are new to OCR and Ninja. They're new to OCR and Ninja, but they're maybe new to sport completely. So that tackling activity is a real key part of what we're going to do. How do we get that message out there? How do we promote the case studies and testimonials that potentially might help us with funding? And how do we run those pilots within the industry? So hopefully you all agree with these points, but ultimately really want you to all get involved as well, like feedback, what's working, what isn't. You could volunteer in things or just provide feedback on ideas, especially if you've got experience in certain areas. We've got Darren Martin who works in strategy, he's going to be helping to support these things, but if you've got commercial expertise in different areas, that can be very valuable for what we're trying to do here. Membership in the Ultimate Season Pass. So here is where we're at from a membership perspective. We have taken a bit of a dip this year. So we're just over 1,500 at the moment. So we do need everyone's support just to really boost, and that's something we're going to be working on in terms of after the champs, after this AGM, like membership. How do we work as a team to really bring more people in? A lot of it, I think, is membership with admin. How do we get people to renew? How do we connect people and really see that actually for £15 a year, which is nothing, it's such a valuable part of how we grow our sport. And I think many people involved will know it's a little bit spinning plate, so we need to try and really work out how we can support each other as teams and then get people running independent projects. Membership is going to be a key focus because that's going to be so important for where we're going. We do have the Ultimate Season Pass. We've got a few things here that we're going to be promoting to get more people support in different areas. We had so many prizes last year. There's going to be a similar amount of prizes for this year as well. And this is how you can get it. So just renewing your membership, you'll get an Ultimate Season Pass entry. If you do it for 2 years, you get free tickets. And this prize, probably 2.5, 3 grand worth of tickets. If you give your time to technical officials, when you're logging your time, you're getting points for Ultimate Season Pass. Also, if you're marshalling, and that's probably something we need to tweak in terms of how we record all that, but we'll record anyone who marshalled today, and they'll get an Ultimate Season Pass ticket as well. If you refer a friend, they put your name. When you sign up, you'll get a ticket. There's 2 more as well. One is the Weekend Warrior Award. So many of you people have won these awards before. You have to go to 8 independent events. They need to be licensed events now and affiliated training centres. If you go to 8, you get 8 season pass tickets as well. So you're supporting events up and down the country, and you're getting 8 tickets into potentially a free season of racing. We also have introduced, you may not have seen, true cost subscribers. So we want to keep our membership as low as possible, but we have introduced a £5 a month subscription. Really, the benefit is supporting British obstacle sports. So it's £5 a month. You get your membership included in that. You get some, I think 15 tickets if you sign up for the year, or you get 1 a month if you sign up for the monthly £5 a month. Just want to say thank you to everyone who is a True Cost subscriber currently. We've got Tim and James, I think, in the room representing. But yeah, really, that's hopefully going to help us if we can develop that. So if you've got a bit of money spare, as I say, we looked at how much, really, if we weren't subsidising with voluntary time, if we were bringing staff, we'd probably be looking at, and a lot of governing bodies charge about 40 to 50 quid membership a year. So especially smaller ones that haven't got the scale of some things like England Athletics, for example. So yeah, something to consider. Oh, this is where I said that I copied slide. Okay, I can take a break. We've got Becky and Beth want to come up. We're going to talk about the national team.
All right, so something that we've been working on towards the whole developing the professionalism of the sport is our national team kit. And a lot of the hard work has been done by our team manager, Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. A lot of it. I think that's a thank you from the athletes and also all the parents and everyone that's been kind of looking after the athletes as well. So really useful. You can see it in the picture there. But this is part of some guidance from World Obstacle that we've developed these uniforms that we're hoping to have, you know, for some time in the future. We're not looking to change these regularly. We're trying to kind of think forwards and have a professional kit that will be kind of sustainable for some time. So a lot of kind of thought went into the background of that, and we currently represented for the first time at Euros this year, just a couple of weeks ago. I remember even 2 years ago at Euros, wearing just my club kit. We've also had a community kit that Maurice has got on at the moment, which has served us well as well. So that's been, you know, useful in the past. But yeah, it's definitely helping us become more professionalised. So part of that development and that progress that we've seen from our national team has been at the European and World Championships. So this year, just 2 weeks ago, we were in Italy at the bottom there. Last year, the World Championships was in Belgium, and before that, we had the Euros a year ago in Hungary. And Italy was the Europeans before that. So that was the very first World Championships run by World Obstacle. That's independent World Championships. And you can see we've been racking up the medals. So we've got some really great progress. 20 medals at Italy just 2 weeks ago. And you'll also notice we're kind of upgrading our medals as well. So we're getting slightly better kind of, or increasing fewer bronzes and more silvers, more golds. So really great progress there. One of them will come on to film. But you also notice Euros last year we had 55 people, we got 81 this year, so that's down from 10 years old up to 60 plus. So we've got a really strong squad. I think it's noticeable for the other nations across the world. I think what's really kind of key for me is that the athletes are able to be athletes. You know, none of the you know, organisation, politics, any of that stuff. That the athletes are able to focus on their racing. I think we've managed to kind of do that really well, thanks to our kind of committees and teams. But yeah, still I think room for improvement. So we're going to kind of keep working on our development pathways, our structure and our rules, to help us do even better in the next races, which we'll talk about. Beth Lodge with me here. We've got our highest elite, as well as the para records that we've gotten, but she came third at the European Championships in the elite 100 meters women's category. So that's an incredible position. And she also broke the national record by quite a few seconds, so which now stands at 42.73. Really impressive there. Ollie Addy actually holds the overall male record, but he's one of our juniors in 29.252, which is an incredible time. So we're really seeing a lot of progress from our national team athletes. And in the 100 meters, this is without even practicing on the actual set course. So really impressive. And I think, again, we've got a lot of improvement to be gained there, especially as we continue to keep developing our partnerships and our obstacles that we have in the UK. You can tell us about the rest of the 100 meters.
Yeah, so we also had some updates to some of the other British records. So as mentioned, Oliver Addy in the youth male, he has broken that record not only for the youth male, but also overall male. We had Charisma Bassenfield, who beat the junior female time, so brought that down to 56.989. We had Alex Arndt, who brought the Masters female time down to 50.606. Dean Cheetham brought that time down. I believe that's a typo, it's 33.5, I think that should say. So shaved a whole 2 seconds off. I think previously that was 40 seconds or something, so brought that down quite a lot. And then Jamie as well has brought down his record at 1:07. So we've had a lot of records coming in at just that European Championship, and so we're on good track to keep that trend going for future competitions. So keeping up the training. And also, as Becky mentioned, this is a real testament to the athletes because we don't have a course to train on. So this is just from the practice that we get and being able to, that 2 hour slot or so beforehand where the athletes go and can try it out. And so year on year, we're bringing our times down just from that short practice session. And also all the training the athletes are doing at home to try and work on the skills and techniques and everything. So it really is paying off, and we're holding our own. So congrats to everyone for that. At the Euros as well, there was a new discipline that's brought in, the 100 meter relay. So this is where the 12 obstacles of the 100 meter course are split up. So you have 4 athletes, each athlete does 3 obstacles in a row, and then you tag the next person, and they go as fast as they can. And so we had our national team competing in this for the first time, and being the first time, yay, we set a new record. Kind of would have been a shame if we hadn't have done, really, but so the record for that stands at 34.558. So we're excited to see where we can bring that down to next time. So we have some future opportunities to represent Team UK coming up. So we have the OCR World Championships out in Costa Rica. That's coming up sort of in August. So we're really excited to have everyone out there competing in all the different disciplines. We have the Spartan World Championships out in Croatia. That's in October. They have the sprint and the 100 meters. So we're going to be sending some athletes out to that. And then we also have the World's Toughest Mudder, which I believe is in November in America, where we are hoping to have representation as well. So lots of opportunities for representation and international competitions. And on the ninja side of things, we have the World Championships in 2025. So next year, this is going to be out in America. This is a photo from one of the previous competitions. And they are sort of trying to bring it together as a ninja speed competition. And some of the runs I've seen are phenomenal. Like the moves that they're doing is just unheard of. So we're looking forward to being able to link that in and send some athletes out to that as well.
So the next big obstacle course racing competition is the European Championships 2025. That's going to be held in Portugal. We don't have confirmation of the exact location or dates just yet, but we'll be starting the qualifications imminently. They're going to be on our website very soon, and the first opportunity to do that is already
Been a few today.
Yeah. So look out for that very soon, for all the details of how many positions and things will be available, but there'll be the top 5, there'll be 5 elite places for the short and standard courses on that. After that, in September, in Sweden, will be the World Championships. So that's the World Obstacle World Championships. That was released about 2 weeks ago, so in Gothenburg in Sweden. So again, we're going to have our selection policy detailed and shared on the website, as well as the qualification events. Yeah. So if you do have questions about the selection policy, I know it in quite a good amount of detail and happy to talk about it with anybody. But we're trying to kind of create some more easy ways for you to understand the information as well, rather than reading lots of pages. So look out for that in the future too.
And do share your feedback with the team as well. Share it with Becky in terms of things we can do. Yeah, Natural Athlete Capital, share information to Becky as well, but anyone can input. Going to talk about recognition. It's been asked a few times, but I just want to make it clear. We are aiming for representation from the whole of the UK, so all the UK sports councils. Because our company is based in England, we liaise with Sport England, but Sport England liaise with all the other sport councils and all have to approve, and more than likely UK sport, because there's kind of an Olympic connection via pentathlon. So yeah, whole of the UK. If we don't get signed up from all of the UK, we won't get recognition. But yeah, we got pre-application approved. It was very exciting, and we were in the full application stage. So this is where we were in November. We've made progress. We're a lot more orange on a few things than green. We're aiming to get as close to complete by August. So we haven't got a lot of time. Got the championship out of the way, both championships. So we're going to focus in July on getting all of these elements done. So we've got many committee members here. I'll probably be calling in lots of help over the next month in July to turn all these to green and get this submitted. Progress updates. So we have previously gone around each committee, and that is really helpful. I really encourage all the committees to set up forums and share what's going on with wider community. But just a few updates. The role of the national governing body and safety management of the sport. I think we've got Michelle here as chair of the safety management committee.
With fault.
She
is going to be taking on that role. We've actually got a really strong committee with people that have done risk assessments up and down the country. Obstacle events, we've got Kate Ray on our committee from Spartan Operations. It's a really strong committee, and one of the key parts, one of the key messages from the sports councils is you need to show us you have a safe sport, and you're governing the sport essentially. And that's kind of why I'm pleased that we've developed things like affiliated centres. One of the key reasons we really want to promote all centres out there, all centres. But if there is an injury at a centre and we've not done any due diligence on that centre, the Sports Council will not be very happy with us essentially. So that's why we've got affiliated centres, licensed events, etc. We tried to make the barriers to entry as low as possible, but people still need to provide things, risk assessments, insurance. If it's a training centre, they need to have British Obstacle Sports coaches, things like that. But this is the progress we've made. It's starting to build out. The one's very small there. We've got all the ones in purple and new for this year. A lot more Ninja Warrior parks coming on board. Ali Hayes has been doing great work speaking to all the Ninja parks. We had 4 coming board in the southeast very recently. A lot of names you're familiar with have been affiliated for a long time. Licensed events continuing to progress and growing. And again, providing insurance, risk assessments, safeguarding, company details. I've had to have conversations with some companies when Alex Young, our treasurer, said, I'm not sure about their finance details, can you ask this? And they've had to confirm they're going to put on the race. So we are doing those checks. Can't guarantee, obviously, we can't check everything. We're a small team, but we are doing some due diligence to ensure that licensed events are being run well and you can go and support them. So we're going to continue to push that up, that number. And we've grown our affiliated clubs. Part of this is because I think that teams are a fabulous way to get involved with the sport. And we do want to make sure that things like safeguarding is really important. So affiliated clubs need to support from a welfare officer perspective, because they've done a couple of people on the club team that have done safeguarding training, and also if it's a club with a coach, that coach is a licensed coach with British Obstacle Sports. We've got 4 clubs. We've got Tim Crangle here, who is Club Development Committee Chair. I know he's building that committee, and any people involved with clubs want to get involved and support. And also, Tim, I know you'll reach out to all the clubs to get them involved. I would say this is probably the easiest one to get involved with, especially if you're a community club as well and you don't have coaches. Really easy to get involved. Nuclear Phoenix, we don't have coaches. We've got 2 welfare officers at Nuclear Phoenix, and now we're affiliated as a club. Really key part is coaching. We set the goal, and Sean unfortunately can't be here in person, but get more coaches trained, more coaches certified or licensed. We've still got some work to do there. We've gone up to 95 coaches trained. We'll get to 20 licensed now. I sent out a note from behalf of the board earlier in the year. We've got work to do on our coach programme. There's a lot of administration and ensuring coaches are supported and they're getting hearing feedback on their course submissions. So Tim's come on again to really help with administration. We've got Teresa, who's helping on the committee as well. So that we're really pushing that. So any coaches, again, apologies on behalf of the board if we've not lived up to the standards that we want. But we're really pushing to deliver a great programme for coaches. We want your feedback, get involved as well. Yeah, and for everyone here, help British Obstacle Sports by talking to non-affiliated events. If an event isn't on our website, tell us. It may be it's a mistake we've not seen, but if it's not on our website, it's not licensed. We'd love to get them on their website. The more we as community tell these events, these centres, these coaches, etc., the more they're going to go, oh, actually, there's a business reason to do this. This is going to help me. And don't forget, if you're not at an affiliated centre or a licensed event, you'll go out and support, but just be aware your member insurance, which covers you for any major injuries, doesn't cover you at those. It's only because that was part of the terms, only if you're at a licensed event or affiliated centre. all that information in terms of what's affiliated, what license is on our website. Just wanted to say about competitive leagues. My Garmin's telling me I'm gonna keel over at some point. All right. I really don't know how to use it either. Time's here, I can see the time, that's what I was checking. We started in partnership with UK OCR with a competitive multi-brand league. And great to see that coming. We've got the Scottish OCR League. Ninja Sport League started last year as well. This year we started, and those are all done in partnership. In addition to the 3K League, they're all in partnership. They're not British Obstacle Sports led. We're working and supporting those brands and organisations. The UK OCR Endurance League is actually British Obstacle Sports led. Got a committee that's running that. But we really want to develop and get more people into these leagues in competitive sport. Also got the Spartan series as well. So that's a brand-led league, the only brand-led league in the UK. We really want to grow the different options and support the different options. National championships, as I mentioned today, we don't have dates for any national championships yet. We do have a few potentially lined up for this year. We're going to try and get out ASAP, but it is tricky because we need to get all the right details. But we will be going out, and in addition to kind of standalone events, I think we are going to look at some other distances, longer distances, maybe 3K, where we're using an existing event, and that's being classed as a national championship as well. They do take a lot of voluntary effort to support, as you probably saw today, the amount of work that goes into make these things happen. So we need to make sure we're dividing and supporting the voluntary team time in the right way. Equally, if anyone likes getting involved with race directing, as I said, we had a British Champs Committee helping to deliver this. Please step forward and get involved as well. I personally, race directing today, in support with Amy, supporting Amy, learned a lot over the last weeks or so, especially last few days about events. Really interesting, hard work, tiring, but really interesting. We're on my next match. We're going to be doing more there to get that all everyone's membership cards. All the discounts that you can get access to are on my next match. Love anyone to support, trying to get more discounts, get more onto my next match, and the membership cards as well. So we've got great membership cards that we could probably do more of in the future in terms of scanning your membership card, getting into entry and things like that. Event stands, we've grown from 2022 to 23. We're at 6, Wendy. Wendy's kind of done a lot with the community so far this year. But I know it's hard work getting volunteers as well. I know it's tricky. We volunteer a lot for there's a lot of marshals. Sorry?
So it was very good. A lot of people came and helped on the day.
Amazing. And it makes such a difference, just bringing people in, speaking to people. So yeah, I know a lot of you here are either marshalling or helping on stand, but yeah, do put the word out there and support Wendy and the team in helping to put stands on at different events. I think we've got about another 5 or 6 we're going to try and do this year, maybe even more. But yeah, really, we can't do them if we don't have the support. Joe and the team, we've trained another 11 or so this year. If you're listening or here and you haven't done the TO course, it's really interesting, really useful, especially even from a racing perspective, being understanding how the technical officials are working. Do recommend doing it, do recommend stepping forward in for a few times and officiating. Modern pentathlon. So I think I explained at the last AGM the status with World Pentathlon and World Obstacle. They signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, and that basically means that they are discussing and looking at a potential merger as an organisation. We, as a board, fed back, I think in May, about what we would like to see any merger look like, essentially. I won't go into the full details of that now, but essentially we want to see a strong, if it's going to happen, it needs to be an organisation that, like we've done with Ninja and OCR, that there's separate technical committees that are representing their sport. We as OCR and Ninja can't be consumed without that support at a global level, and it just becomes pentathlon. And there are also things like the brand as well, like how is OCR and Ninja represented at a world level? I think those views are being heard. And also, we as national federations will vote on any decision as well. It does sound like it's going to take a long time, as these big level mergers do. But it could not, if it happens, it could be 2027, 2028 before that happens. And I know there's a lot of pluses and a lot of possible benefits to it. So it's definitely go into it with an open mind, but at the same time, we need to ensure our sport is protected. And that's the interest of the board as well, in terms of how we ensure British obstacle sports, and then at a world level is ensuring the best for our athletes, for our participants and members. So at a local level, British obstacle sports and pentathlon GB, we've been working together for a year or so already. I support on the board at Pentathlon GB and how they should help and develop OCR. Many of the, as I say, we've got Reese Edwards from Pentathlon GB on our 100-meter committee. So we're working in terms of partnership, in terms of where it makes sense to partner. So we've looked at a strategic alliance. So we actually signed, not a kind of an MOU, but similar to an MOU between British Obstacle Sports and Pentathlon GB. It basically covers where it makes sense to work together. Actually, the sports councils want to see national governing bodies collaborate, just like they collaborate with British fencing, British swimming, etc. We're doing the same. So events, how do we look to collaborate and support? If they're running a 100-meter event, how do we support? How do we do that from supporting for British Obstacle Sports Tournament? How do we promote our obstacle events together? How do we develop the youth pathways? We've been in conversation collectively with Youth Sport Trust, for example. How do we get programs into schools, teaching kids about obstacle? And then as they develop, they may just do that as a bit of fun and not do that forever, or they might go into OCR, might go into OCR, they might go into Ninja, they might go into pentathlon later. Just makes sense to build a pool of youth athletes together. Facility development, they are developing their existing pentathlon hubs to have OCR within them, so there can be opportunities in different parts of the country, quite often different parts of the country as well. They'll have a facility in Bath. How do we also support them and bring pentathletes into our facilities as well? And then finally, adaptive athletes. I know, Jamie, you've been doing quite a bit with pentathlon already. How do we support collectively in developing para? They don't have it as an Olympic sport in pentathlon. So it's a Paralympic sport. So it's obviously an Olympic sport in pentathlon, not in Paralympics. So there's opportunities to develop there in the pentathlon side. So that's what we've done. We've also said, and both sides are in a similar opinion, let's not talk about merging now. It's not the time. We've both got, as Pentathlon GB, they've got a lot of work to do. They've just brought obstacle in, from our side, we've got to get recognised. That's our first priority. We haven't got time to be bringing two organisations together. So we've said, if there is a global merger, we'll come back at that point and we'll discuss what makes sense for both sports. Not a guarantee we'll merge, but just what's the right decision at that point. Almost at the end. Outgoing committee members, just want to say thank you to Graham Roberts, Lindsay McEwen, who was pivotal and did a lot with her role, Ian Ross and Katie Joyce. So thank you to those for their support for the Federation. Partner updates. We're working with a lot of media channels. We've got a group going. We're really trying to support and share information and get the word out there about our sport. These are all our partners. We've got Nick in the room. We've got Natalie from Spartan. So yeah, please, and Pentathlon now coming in terms of that strategic alliance. My next match from a membership perspective with Honour. 2 discounts. We need to get the word out with Toros, and I've got 15% off with BOS Champs 2024. I will put this note out. It runs to the 3rd of July, but if you do want some more Toros equipment, here's your opportunity to get 15% off. Free delivery, 150 quid. Boom, 25% off with AGM BOS as well. So that's around till next Friday. Can
you just go back ones? I can play quite.
Yeah. BOS Champs 2024, AGM BOS. Ballot results, everything, this is provisional, because this was taken very late last night. It will be updated tomorrow with our final results. We haven't put the representative votes on here, just because it wouldn't be very fair if it changed or it finished and people were still getting to vote. But you can go and say yes or no to these until 7:30. Everything's passed, as I say, minutes. There must have been something in that minutes that people weren't happy with. Please tell us what it is. Otherwise, all good to go. So hopefully that will all be confirmed. We can submit our articles, submit our financial accounts, and submit our minutes. All right, we're going to have a bit of a Q&A with Paul Brenton. I'd like to thank you, James, for selecting the most impressive picture you can find of me.
So very quickly, because I've appreciated the time, I think for the ones online and in the room, it'd be missed opportunity if you had a burning question. For obviously, we have Becky, head of OCR, we have Beth, vice chair, Ninja Sports Technical Committee member. We have Honor, the elected director. We have Mike, the medical board of, you've just moved over there, okay. And then we have Natalie, the Spartan International Marketing Director, and James, our chair of the board. I went round today, I had got a question specifically for each of these members, tailored to their area, their expertise. So, but what I would ask, if there's anyone online or anyone in the room that wants to throw a question directly or to the group, then I will ask whoever wishes to come in. If there is no questions and it dries up online or in the room, I've got my 5 questions ready to go. So, is there any questions online? Oh yeah. Okay, is there any questions in the room? There was one. If you want to, Dave. Dave?
Okay, in other schools, after masters, there's seniors or another group, best essentially. But when you look at physiologically how we are, once we come to 50, both male and female, things start to change. The world falls apart, bodily wise, and it's none of the over 50s really can compete with the 40s in that regard. Also, when you look at who's competing in the age groups, I've been involved in other sports, and by the time you get to this age, you lose more than you maintain.
Yeah.
So if we keep the key people that are training hard, working hard, etc., in with something to focus them for, or if we want to bring in older people, there's still something for them to be aiming at. So is that something we could look towards bringing in?
Yeah, maybe I'll cover that, and hopefully people here online, if they don't, get into message. But yeah, just in terms of how we keep people into the sport as they get older, as they get to 50s, they're not necessarily as competitive as physiology as like 40, 30, etc. I think there's a couple of things. I think the 5-year age group system works really well.
Yeah.
And that's something that works really well at Spartan, it worked really well today, and we do that as much as possible. I think sometimes it's connected to the numbers we have, and that's why initially, for example, the UK OCR series has been 40 plus only, and that thing, and it's something we, it's how we push that for which way. So I think it's definitely something we should look at. I know the multi-band system is around keeping people in the sport, and I don't know if you want to explain kind of what we're doing there, just to ensure.
And then if we talk about that, again, for that age group, or maybe 55, but for that age group, an extra band.
Yeah.
Because it's so difficult to keep those, as we found out with the Europeans.
Do you want to explain the multi-band system that we did for the 10 to 13?
Definitely heard a lot of the feedback after Euros from the athletes about suggestions around different wristbands and things. What we have been trialing this year is what we're calling the multi-band penalty system. So the juniors used it today, And so what that is starting with a set number of wristbands, so 3 today. But instead of losing your final wristband and then being like not ranked, the other people who kept the wristband, instead you start adding lines or marks on your final wristband, and then adding on some additional time penalties after that. So you can still complete your two, if you failed 2 obstacles, complete 2 penalty laps, and then also gain additional time penalties. So you can continue sort of racing, not doing a ridiculous number of penalty laps. And that then accounts for, you know, if you've got an injury that perhaps with age is just not something that's going to get better. So it will take you out
like
a certain,
3K if it was a
yeah.
race, I wouldn't be able to carry on.
Yeah,
Because they would lose.
Sometimes you just can't do a particular obstacle, so you've already got -1 from the start essentially. But you're still able to kind of be in the race, and potentially there's other people in your age group who might have something similar. So it's a way of kind of enabling that without changing the whole of the rest of the age groups as well. We tried it earlier at a race in the year, and then today with the juniors. There is some additional admin that it would take. But so far, I think we've had some kind of positive ways of getting people to be ranked into a much greater depth. So people still complete all the obstacles, people completing 2 of the, or failing 2, and then people could fail, you know, 10 obstacles and still be ranked in the same kind of system. And that works really well for the junior end as well. There was, you know, I've seen kids before who have been really concerned about losing all of their bands, and it's really taken over their brain. So it works at that angle as well as kind of getting older and bodies changing and things. So hopefully that's one way to address it as well.
I think there's 2 key parts here. One is ensuring everyone can finish, but also rewarding obstacle completion. That's a key part of it, and that's why it's a good penalty at the end as well. And then the second part is simplicity. So we have at the moment gone 4 bands juniors, 4 bands women, 3 bands men. But again, you've then got that cap, like way of protecting and ensuring everyone can finish as well. It's definitely something we want to look at, because ultimately we want more people to come into the sport. We don't want people coming into the sport and being completely turned off on it, but it's too hard.
It was retention.
It's a real balance. We wanna make it as hard as it possibly can. We wanna test the people that are experienced and developed at a national, international level, but we wanna bring people in at the bottom. And you've got to get that balance right. So that's kind of what we're trying to work on.
Okay, happy with the response? Any other questions from the floor you wish to pose to the panel? Okay, I have questions. So I gave these questions. If you're listening, thank you for passing this information to me. And I've got a question for each of you. I will turn to my right, your left, Becky. As the head of OCR, what are the key technical challenges you foresee for OCR events? And how is the British Obstacle Sports addressing these?
Yeah, I think something that sometimes takes over races is the overcomplicatedness of things. If there's a lot of rules or a very lengthy rule book, things can get miscommunicated. So what we're trying to do, and we've had meetings with race organisers, we've got feedback forms from every different kind of event, but we're trying to standardise the approach to obstacles. So if it's a balance beam, is it always from before the start to after the end, or do you put a foot there and a foot there? Trying to make that consistent across events, different brands. So communicating that through the rule books, but also with organisers so that they actually kind of set it up in that way. So the athlete doesn't have to think. It can just be like, I'm doing this obstacle. We always know how that works. And there's none of this extra over engineering of rules that can have impact on races at international level, or even, you know, at the community events, which means people don't want to come back and spend their money on those things. So I think that's a kind of very technical aspect that we're working on. So we've got our rule book, which has been existing for I think over 2 years now. We're on version 3. We're always looking to develop it. And one of the things we're doing is creating like an obstacle library. So that kind of library will have this kind of standard way of approaching an obstacle, but at the same time we want to protect, you know, the uniqueness of the sport. So it's not over standardizing, it's just making it more simple for everyone to understand, so that everything can be executed a lot more smoothly to allow for the competition, I think, to flow fairly. Yeah.
Thank you for your in-depth answer, Becky. Beth, if I may, I'll move on to you. How are you working to standardise ninja sport competitions across the UK to ensure fairness and consistency?
So I think it's a really interesting question, and we have to take into account the fact that there is going to be a balance, because you don't want it to be too standardized that then the obstacles are always the same across all the competitions, because A, that can be too difficult to implement with the different facilities available, and also it then prevents any creativity and obstacle development. If you look at the first Ninja competition compared to what we have now, the types of obstacles have changed massively. We're having new obstacles put into every competition, and it's also, it pushes the athlete development by having these new obstacles and new challenges. And I think that is something that a lot of people like, is having this new obstacle and being like, oh, how do I tackle this? How do I go about it? And so I think that is important to preserve to help that aspect of it. But also we don't want it to be a free-for-all, essentially. And we want it to be clear for athletes. And I know that I am guilty of having a disqualification because I've not listened to a rule properly and I've touched something I shouldn't have. And so I think there is a balance to strike with that. And so, as Becca mentioned, there is the rule book. And so we've laid out the different types of ninja competitions. So we have furthest fastest, where if you fail, you're out. We have a points-based system, and we have different ways to sort of categorize the competitions to try and give that element of structure without being too too prescriptive. So it allows the freedom and the variety without making it too narrow. And so we are going to try and really publicize that and get the ninja competitions to clearly state what type and style of competition is, to try and give that information out to athletes before they arrive, because each type of competition suits a different athlete in a different way. And so we want to give that as a variety and an option for competitors. But it is going to be a balance that we need to try and address, whilst also keeping in mind that it is a growing sport and there may be new styles that come into it as we progress.
Thank you very much for your answer there, Beth. On over to you. I think for your external, from my perspective, your external experience coming into the sport, looking from outside in and maybe not growing up with the sport and then assuming everything we do this because we've always done it. I think the question I like here is, from an external perspective, what do you see and feel, I like that, are the strengths and weaknesses in OCR and Ninja in the UK today?
Well, if you think about it, we've got 95 Olympic sports as a mainstream Olympic sport, and they are all funded internationally by the Olympics and nationally by the national sports ministries or sport governing bodies. So they're, as James said, that they're well funded, well managed, some of them not so well managed, because there's money, they don't have that money problem. But we also need to look at the sport structures. So some sports have got professional leagues, they're all in it for money. And some of them has got only grassroots and amateurs, and some of them only for the Olympics. So all these finances, sponsorships and etc., when you put them in there, you've got the finances within the governing bodies. So that means it gives you much more power in order to achieve what you want to achieve. As the British obstacle sport, I can say that because I'm also the governance committee chairman within the World Obstacle, and I liaise with almost all of the other national federations within the World Obstacle. We are the second best run federation after Philippines. I can happily say that, without all these funds, without all these big sponsors. So with £40,000 income, this is how we do it. And you see everybody here works voluntarily. So what I'm trying to say is, if we get recognized by the UK Sport England, when we get funds, I think then we can create this perfect hierarchy in terms of world obstacle, then European, and underneath European, we are as British obstacle sports, and employ all these executives, administrative teams, then we can actually apply what James pointed out in our strategic priorities. All those happens with money and effort. So within all these limited efforts, this is what we can do, this is what we are doing, and this is what we've achieved. So I think the finances is a key element, once we get there. Then we will work with Spartans and Tough Mudders or professional leagues in partnership in order to develop the sport on one hand, but also make sure that the ecosystem kind of goes on in terms of developing the youth and generating revenue, making it as a mainstream sport and getting recognized by the IOC. So my background is boxing. I worked in boxing as from the club chairman to all the way to other combat sports president and founders. And we work with Mike in boxing for over 10 years now. So as I used to compete up to the national level in boxing, so I know how the other federations from the combat sports point of view, how they function. Because there is a proven structure within the Olympic sports. It's just proven, it's there, it works. And none of those 95 sports apply those structures, and that's how they operate. And from the pentathlons, it's exactly the same thing. So yeah, finances, recognitions, employing the right people, in the right positions, I think we will achieve much more than what we have.
Thank you for your perspective with I think we're quite lucky to have someone with your experience in multiple disciplines, and you come in with that experience in the boxing and where your linkage in on the world. So I think the committee and the way that the sports and to say honestly, without any gain from anything, that we're the second, I think it's quite testimony to the team here and everyone listening and everyone in the room. There's minimal finance, but what we have achieved since it started is beyond words and measure. And so that's got to be a thanks from me to you and your guidance and everyone in this room and listening.
So in the team.
Yeah.
Amazing job.
So thank you. So Mike, with an impressive beard at the end, who is the medical board advisor. I did have a chat to Mike, very highly in the sports, medical, very highly qualified in the doctor world. So he's like an SME specialist of specialists in London. So what is your view on the injury surveillance with regards to making the sport safer?
I agree, by the way, that everything goes to pot after 50. Personal experience. I think, Becky's all over this, so, but I think it's important as you want to advance your sport and get more recognition and get sponsors on board and get national councils to give you money. One of the questions they can ask is about welfare. This is an extreme sport. And I've looked after boxing, mixed martial arts, full contact kung fu, taekwondo, British snow sports, all of which are also extreme sports. But what you need to do initially is to get some sort of injury surveillance so you can say, well, actually, this is where we fit into the world of extreme sports. And actually, we are not as bad as this, but we could improve. And if we do, this is what we'll do. Unless you know what sort of injuries you're getting and what sort of injuries you're having within your sport, you can't change to make them better. So injury surveillance for me is always a key, particularly in extreme sports.
Thank you very much, Mike. I move on to you. That's it. So Natalie, as obviously the Spartan International Marketing Director, how does Spartan plan to market and grow obstacle sports, both locally here in the UK and internationally?
A big question, isn't it? Firstly, thank you for having me in today, and also congratulations for all the great results today at the event. Hopefully everyone here enjoyed it. I personally did. We go again tomorrow. But to answer that question, it's essentially trying, making people see it, right? If they see it, they will do it, right? And that's what stays strong. We're trying to create within our infrastructure platforms to elevate competition, sport, educate people, and tell the stories of these people. And it isn't always just about Spartan. It totally isn't, and hence why we're working closely together. It's recognizing that this is a gateway to sport, competition, and it starts from the very beginning. And it can go wherever you want it to go, right? And there's a level for everyone, whether it's the top end
or, you know, it's just achieving something and there's competition, personal competition. Locally, in that sense, is being more visible locally, working closer with communities and being present and being able to educate. I think the education, Becky mentioned it, is so important because, you know, we have a huge amount of races that are coming through. You know, this year it's booming, like it's not just in the UK, it's across Europe, it's across America, and healthily in Europe, we're up competitively in the sport as well compared to America as well. So I'm doing something right in that sense of storytelling. But there's a lot of education and a lot of barriers to be broken down with, like how to get into it, how it can be accessible. And, you know, that's our platform to try and do that. Now, you know, we've got a lot of work to be done in it. But that's how, you know, we're fundamentally there to bring people in, educate, tell them the story, hopefully, you know, create heroes, whether it's through our events or it's recognising the athletes that are everywhere and being able to do that. Obviously, we've got multiple championship events next weekend. Obviously, in Morsey, there's over 10,000 racers. It'll be the biggest championship event of the season. We've got Havar, we've got Abu Dhabi, we've got obviously Sparta, and obviously all the European championship pieces. But for me, it's about the underbelly of all of those championship pieces, because we have to tell those stories about the everyday racers, those that want to get to there or want to get to some of those things. So it's using our platform to tell the story, elevate the sport, and educate the sport on that. And then, you know, there's a lot of work to be done, but, you know, the synergies that we're having and the conversations, the healthy challenge and debate about rules and various things and how we can make it more of a sport, but also still protect events and brands with their own businesses is so important. You know, I know you've worked hard with Giles and Matt, and, you know, bringing Kate, who's hugely experienced in events, is, you know, it's really, really exciting. And I feel really privileged to be working, you know, in it and having a small kind of say in it. And yeah, so there's lots to be done on it, but we're getting there. Numbers are looking good. Competitive numbers are looking really good as well. And, you know, we've had lots of changes as well in Spartan, and the more we do to make people understand it, and specifically the open races as well, because there's lots of them out there and they just don't know, you know, how you get them into thinking that they can compete, they can compare themselves, they can do it, and then they go the next level. So yeah, is that?
Yeah, I think from you working on international level, and you just listed 4 events.
4 events, yeah, so that's 4 in the UK. We've got 18, predominantly I look after UK and Western Europe, and I index into Central Europe and the rest of the world to support them with like marketing plans or performance kind of stuff. And obviously, because a lot of the championship events are in Europe, which again, because we've got a healthy team that are really, really passionate about telling that story and bringing that to life, I look after those as well. So then I'm working with the rest of the world to make sure that they're represented there. And, you know, Croatia in October is just, you know, a fantastic opportunity for us to innovate and then to work with, you know, World Obstacle, lots of federations to bring their athletes there. And it's going to be a really special occasion to be able to bring a brand and federations together to really represent. We're going to have TV coverage, you know, proper TV coverage. You're not saying, you know, like just volunteers running around with cameras. This is a proper, you know, investment piece into the sport. And yeah, and it's going to be exciting. And next weekend, you know, the Ultra, we've got a whole content plan. We've got, again, it is being live streamed, and we've got a full investment piece into globally to tell the story of that sporting event next weekend. So it will be very different to what we've done before, and I'm really excited about it. So we get that right, we build, and we keep going from there.
I mean, I think what you bring from that experience and benefit the growth of BOS from what you see around the world. So just
Yeah,
happy you're on the committee.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, if they see it, they will do it. That's what I say, you know, we all have a responsibility to support that, because it is such a fantastic sport. I wasn't really too much aware of it. I came from cycling, and fell in love with it straight away, because, you know, you see what people put out there, right? And it's incredible, and just not enough people know about it. And that's our job, to make sure people know about it, and enjoy it, and feel like it's a safe, inclusive environment that has so many benefits, you know. So yeah.
Thank you, love your answer. And last but not least, James, how do you see, as the chair of the board, the recent partnership, this is quite relevant, with Spartan UK influencing the growth and development of obstacle sports in the UK?
Great question. Just before, I don't need this, just before I answer that, I was just gonna say, a complete tangent. When we rebranded as British Obstacle Sports, Becky knows where we're going, we never went out and said, are we BOS or are we BOS? There's like a divide.
There's no
The intent, I guess from a brand perspective, was BOS. So we're gonna try and just reclaim BOS and see if it sticks. So I'm just gonna say that. BOS. Thank you. Sorry. The partnership with Spartan has been, honestly, it has been incredible. Like, we would be obviously here today, but we wouldn't have progressed as much as we progressed without Spartan support. In addition to our other partners as well, but Spartan are, I can't remember the official title, but essentially, chief technical partner. I can't remember their name, you probably don't either. But in terms of the support they're providing, from a sponsorship perspective, in terms of actually making membership mandatory and competitive, we wouldn't have been able to submit our pre-application because we needed to hit that membership target without that support. They also gave 100, don't know if you remember last year, 100 tickets that our members could get someone into the British Obstacle Sports to, and then they could claim a ticket, that massive benefit to our members. In terms of hosting 2 British championships as well. They're not huge. I know our sport is expensive, but they're not money making opportunities for Spartan. They're doing it because they want to help grow the sport and develop the sport. Some of the choices we've made over the weekend and the decisions we've made have cost Spartan money, but they wanted to do it because it's the right thing to do. So it's huge investment in sport, both from a financial perspective, but also from a time perspective. It took a lot of energy from the team to help put on the championship this weekend. We see how big some of the Spartan waves are, 250 plus, some of the open waves. They put on a 25-person, 14 to 17-year-old age group, and probably for an hour didn't have any waves going out at that point. That's a massive investment from Spartan, to investment in the future of our kids and development. So, you know, massive kudos. I know it's a global initiative, but we have got, as a case study in the UK, a really strong story in terms of how well we as a federation are working with Spartan and vice versa. Natty maybe attest it's not necessarily going that well in other.
Yeah, and exactly, and a lot of it is in business or in partnerships. It's about building relationships, and those things will come when, you know, conversations and people connect, and, you know, there's an understanding with how, you know, we're a good showcase of that, to say, look, you want this, you could do it like this, follow, you know. So we'll get there, right? One step at a time, like bit by bit. You know, the synergies will happen, partnerships, with other brands as well, just, supports what we're trying to do. So,
Yeah.
We're passionate about it, hence why we're happy to do these things, put them on, and also showcase that, we know what we're doing as well, so, yeah.
And also a call out to other brands supporting, so, Nuclear Races has helped support their partner as well. On a lesser scale, in like individual cases, we've worked with other brands, training centres, and it is a call out for anyone who listens to this, and we want to work with everyone out there, so don't feel you can't reach out. I think it's hard as a volunteer team to dedicate the time, but just call us, speak to us, and like get some time in the diary to chat about how we will work together. But we all want the same thing. We want to grow the sport. We want to make it better. We want to get more people enjoying what we love as well.
So James, thank you. That's the end of my questions. So I'd just like to thank everyone that sit on the panel for facing the fire and answering questions from yourself. Have you got one?
I've got one.
Oh, go on then.
Don't bring it back. So Natalie, so I did pre-empt Natalie beforehand. So coming from, I'm Spartan head ref, and I've been there for 3 years, and we've seen the increase in the quality of the athletes, from the whole range of athletes, from the young ones all the way up to the masters. Now, I want to focus more on the juniors. So the class of the juniors has been amazing the last couple of years, and we've brought them all the way up. And a lot of them now are coming out of the age of that we take the kids course and moving over. So they're moving over to that 14 to 17. Now, Spartan allow them to do the sprint and the super course now, but they have to do the male and female weights. And I know that a lot of them over the last year or so have come to me asking if they can change the weight because they're just not strong enough. And some of those they have to do, and they just feel that they can't do those weights, that they don't want to race it. And I know they can go out and do the open weights, they can do whatever they want, but that's not what they want. Today, in the British Champs, we had them out doing the female weights, and the amount of people that came up to me and said that it was so amazing that they could go out and actually achieve it because they were allowed to do the smaller weights. Is there an opportunity, because I know it's a bigger picture, because obviously Spartan isn't a little brand, it's a worldwide brand, but can we move that conversation up the chain to see whether, as a junior development process, that could be added in?
Absolutely, that is exactly why, we have these, conversations, isn't it? Is that we can definitely take that forward and have a good, solid conversation about how, could that, the implications of that changing, like in, not just in the UK, but across everything, our SOPs are, once they're set, they should work across every nation. So, let's have the conversation. It's not a decision that I would be able to make, but James and Becky could definitely bring that, and yourself, bring that to the table and talk to our product committee and have a really, work it out accordingly. We know, the development of children between 14 and 17 is all over the place, right? I've got a 13-year-old and he's playing rugby against 6-footers and he's nearly my height, but short, basically. So I understand the challenges that it is on there, and it's definitely one that should be taken forward to the product committee to discuss, to make sure that we're trying to do the right thing.
We've got a great case study for today, from today as well. I know Dawn's been working really hard, talking to a lot of the team, that's fine, but I think it's just showing the benefits, show the value, show the feedback as well, and looking at like building additional case studies and testing things as
different
well.
ways to obviously recognise those that can, but also not, but it's a big conversation, which one can definitely be had with the right people.
Can I just add to that? I was just saying, thank you. The kids, the younger age groups today, is it Demi that runs it?
Yes.
She said thank you to me today because they never get to watch the kids run. And while we had the younger age groups out, she went round on the buggy and they said how amazing it was to just watch the children run today rather than be wondering what's going on and managing the course, and it was really nice that we could return that favour with how much work they
Yeah,
put in for
absolutely.
competitive kids races, that today we ran the event for them and they could enjoy it rather than organise it, and it was so lovely to have that thank you and that
Yeah,
conversation.
she's really,
And that was really nice.
she's a great asset to us,
Yeah.
and, you know, one that we want to support and develop, and I guarantee her, watching from the sideline, her mind will be thinking, right, what next? Like, you know, yes, amazing, but she's thinking, right, you know, this is what I'm seeing. You do see it from a different perspective when you're not in that mode. So thank you for that, and I'll make sure that goes back to her as well, so.
Any more from the floor, online? So James, that's the end of that slide, and I'm going off that way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've just to thank you on behalf of the board. Burton. Yes, thank you. Thank you. No, just to say, we've got Ali on there now, showed online as well. But yeah, just to say how grateful we are for all your support. I hope the combo kind of session worked well. Maybe you couldn't hear everything online, but I hope you were able to follow along as much as possible. Yeah, and let's keep going. Let's play. Let's keep smashing what we're doing and working together to grow our sport, get it recognised, and yeah, go further. So thank you everyone, especially after a big British champs. I know everyone's tired and will probably eat and stuff. So we're going to say goodnight and thank you all. Thank you.